Imagine walking into a meeting in Tokyo. The person across the table is from Brazil. Another colleague is from Germany. Someone joins the call from India. Another participant connects from Kenya. They all have different cultures, different backgrounds, different native languages. So how do they communicate? Very often, they choose English. Not because it's everyone's first language, but because it's the language they all have in common. That's why English has become much more than a school subject. It's the language of international business, the language of global opportunities, the language of collaboration. And in today's world, understanding English can open doors that might otherwise remain closed. But have you ever wondered why English became the world's business language? Why don't international companies use another language instead? And how can learning English completely transform your career? Hello, my amazing students, and welcome again to your channel. My name is Clara, and today we're going to explore why English became the language of global business, how it connects companies and people around the world, and why improving your English may become one of the smartest investments you ever make for your future. At the same time, you'll improve your English listening skills, English vocabulary, speaking confidence, and overall English fluency through this fascinating business lesson. So let's begin. Have you ever noticed something interesting? Two people from completely different countries meet for the first time. One speaks Spanish, the other speaks Korean. Neither of them speaks the other's native language. Yet, somehow, they still manage to communicate. Very often, they choose English. Not because it's perfect, not because it's easy, but because it's the language they both happen to know. And that's exactly how English became the language of global business. Now here's something important. English didn't become the world's business language overnight. It happened gradually, over many decades, through history, trade, technology, science, and international cooperation. Let's go back for a moment. During the 19th and 20th centuries, the influence of English-speaking countries grew significantly. The United Kingdom built one of the largest trading empires in history. Its ships traveled across continents. Its businesses reached distant markets. And naturally, the English language spread alongside international trade. Later, another major shift happened. The United States became one of the world's largest economies. American companies expanded internationally. Hollywood became globally popular. Technology companies grew rapidly. Universities attracted students from every corner of the world. Little by little, English became increasingly useful. Not because governments forced people to learn it, because opportunities encouraged them to. Now imagine you're starting an international company. You want to sell products in Europe, Asia, Africa, South America. Would you create marketing materials in 50 different languages immediately? Probably not. You would most likely begin with one language that reaches the largest international audience. For many businesses, that language is English. Now here's something fascinating. Many multinational companies don't use English because every employee is a native speaker. Most aren't. They use English because it creates a common ground. Imagine a meeting inside a global company. A designer from Italy, an engineer from India, a manager from Mexico, a software developer from Poland, a marketing specialist from Egypt. Each person has a different first language. If everyone insisted on speaking only their native language, communication would become almost impossible. English becomes the bridge, the shared language that allows ideas to move freely. Now think about how powerful that is. Language isn't only about words, it's about connection. It's about solving problems together, making decisions, building partnerships, creating opportunities. Now here's another reason English became so important. Business moves quickly. Companies cannot spend months translating every conversation, every email, every presentation, every meeting. Having one common language makes international cooperation much faster, and speed matters in business. Now let's connect this to your own future. Imagine two job candidates with similar education, similar experience, similar technical skills. One can confidently communicate in English, the other cannot. Who will often have access to more international opportunities? Usually the first candidate, not because they're more intelligent, because they can communicate with more people. And communication creates opportunity. Now here's something many learners don't realize. Learning English isn't only about speaking with native speakers. In fact, many English conversations around the world happen between people who are not native speakers at all. A Brazilian entrepreneur speaking with a Japanese supplier, a Turkish engineer working with a German client, a Moroccan freelancer helping a customer from Sweden, an Indonesian programmer collaborating with a team in Canada. English becomes the shared language that makes these partnerships possible. Now, imagine how many opportunities exist because of that simple fact. Thousands of international meetings happen every single day. Millions of emails are exchanged. Countless business ideas are discussed. Contracts are negotiated. Friendships are formed. Careers are built. All through one shared language. Now, here's another interesting observation. When companies expand internationally, they're not only looking for technical skills, they're looking for people who can communicate clearly, share ideas, work with international teams, adapt to different cultures. English often becomes the key that unlocks those possibilities. Now, think about your own English journey. Every new word you learn, every podcast you listen to, every conversation you practice, isn't only improving your language, it's increasing the number of people you can communicate with. And every new conversation creates the possibility of a new opportunity, a new friendship, a new client, a new career, a new idea. That's why English has become much more than a language. It has become a global tool, a bridge between cultures, a bridge between businesses, and a bridge between people who might otherwise never have been able to understand each other. And perhaps that's the greatest reason English became the language of global business. Not because it belongs to one country, but because it helps the world work together. Imagine you're applying for your dream job. You have the right degree, the right experience, the right technical skills. You prepare carefully. You attend the interview. Everything goes well. Then the interviewer asks one simple question. Can you communicate comfortably in English? Suddenly, that one skill becomes just as important as everything else you've worked so hard to achieve. And this happens every day, not only in huge international companies, but also in small businesses that work with clients from different countries. Now, here's something interesting. Many people believe companies hire employees only because of what they know. But businesses also hire people because of who they can communicate with. Imagine a company that wants to expand into new markets. They need employees who can answer emails, join international meetings, negotiate with partners, present ideas, build relationships, and solve problems with people from different cultures. English makes all of that possible. Now think about this. Two software engineers have the same technical ability. Two designers create work of the same quality. Two marketers have similar experience. But one of them speaks English confidently. Who is more likely to lead an international project? Who is more likely to travel for business? Who is more likely to communicate directly with global clients? Very often, it's the person who can communicate in English. Not because they're smarter, because they remove communication barriers. And businesses value that enormously. Now here's something fascinating. In many international companies, English isn't simply another skill. It's part of everyday work. Emails are written in English. Reports are written in English. Meetings happen in English. Training materials are often in English. Internal communication may happen in English even when nobody in the room is a native speaker. That's because one shared language makes collaboration much more efficient. Now imagine joining a global team. Your manager is from Canada, a colleague is from Brazil, another teammate is from Germany, another works remotely from Vietnam. Everyone contributes different ideas, different experiences, different perspectives, but everyone communicates through English. Without that common language, working together would become incredibly difficult. Now let's go deeper. Companies don't only value employees who speak English, they value employees who can think, explain, and solve problems in English. There's a big difference. Knowing vocabulary is useful. Using that vocabulary to communicate confidently is far more valuable. That's why listening practice matters, speaking practice matters, building confidence matters. Because communication creates trust, and trust builds professional relationships. Now imagine giving a presentation to international clients. At first, it sounds intimidating, but after months of practicing English, you explain your ideas clearly. You answer questions confidently. You build credibility. The language didn't just help you speak, it helped people believe in your abilities. Now here's another important benefit. English often gives people access to opportunities they never expected. A promotion, a remote job, an international scholarship, a business partnership, a freelance client from another country. Many of these opportunities appear because communication becomes possible. Now think about freelancers, a graphic designer in Morocco, a programmer in Egypt, a writer in Argentina, a video editor in Indonesia. Through English, they can work with clients almost anywhere in the world. Their office stays the same, but their market becomes global. That's an incredible advantage. Now here's something powerful. English doesn't only increase the number of jobs you can apply for, it increases the number of people who can discover your talent. And that's a completely different way of thinking. Imagine you're incredibly skilled, but only people in one small area can communicate with you. Now imagine the same skills combined with English. Suddenly, your work can reach companies, clients, and employers across continents. Your opportunities multiply. Not because your talent changed, because your communication changed. Now, let's connect this to your own future. Every English lesson you complete, every conversation you practice, every podcast you listen to is preparing you for conversations you haven't had yet. Conversations with future employers, future colleagues, future business partners, future customers. You may not know exactly when those conversations will happen, but when they do, you'll be ready. And readiness creates confidence. Now, here's the biggest lesson. Companies don't simply invest in products. They invest in people who can connect ideas across cultures, people who can communicate, collaborate, adapt, and build relationships. English helps you become one of those people. And that's why, in today's global economy, learning English is no longer just about learning another language. For millions of people, it's about expanding their career, increasing their opportunities, and building a future without borders. One of the biggest advantages of learning English has nothing to do with grammar and nothing to do with pronunciation. It has to do with access. Because in today's world, information is one of the most valuable resources you can have. And English gives you access to an enormous amount of it. Now imagine you want to learn about artificial intelligence, or business, or marketing, or finance, or medicine, or engineering. Where do many of the newest ideas appear first? Very often, they appear in English. Research papers, online courses, business books, podcasts, conferences, professional communities. Much of the world's newest knowledge is shared in English before it's translated into other languages. That means English learners often gain access to ideas earlier, and sometimes being early makes a huge difference. Now think about someone who starts learning a new technology today because they discovered it through English. Another person waits until that same information is translated a year later. Both people eventually learn the same skill, but one had an extra year to practice, an extra year to build experience, an extra year to create opportunities. Knowledge is powerful. Early knowledge can be even more powerful. Now here's something fascinating. Many of the world's largest companies publish reports, tutorials, and educational resources in English. Imagine visiting the websites of international technology companies, business schools, universities, professional organizations. Every day they publish articles, research, and insights that millions of people read. If you understand English, those resources become available to you immediately. Now let's imagine two entrepreneurs. Both want to grow their businesses. The first person can only learn from local resources. The second person learns from experts in the United States, Singapore, Germany, Australia, Canada, the United Kingdom, and many other countries. Who is likely to discover more ideas, more strategies, more solutions? Usually the second person, because their classroom is much larger. English expands the number of teachers you can learn from. Now, here's another interesting point. Innovation often happens when different ideas meet. Imagine a designer reading about psychology, a programmer learning marketing, a doctor studying artificial intelligence, a teacher exploring neuroscience. Some of the best ideas come from connecting different fields. English makes those connections easier because it opens the door to information from around the world. Now, think about YouTube. Every single day, millions of educational videos are uploaded. Business lessons, programming tutorials, language courses, science documentaries, interviews with successful entrepreneurs, leadership advice, personal development. Some of the highest quality educational content is available in English, and much of it is completely free. Imagine having access to some of the world's best teachers without leaving your home. That's one of the quiet advantages of learning English. Now let's connect this to your career. Imagine you're working in digital marketing. Every year, new tools appear. New platforms, new strategies, algorithms change. Customer behavior changes. The people who continue learning stay competitive. The people who stop learning slowly fall behind. English helps you keep learning because so much professional information is shared through it. Now here's something powerful. English doesn't only help you find information, it helps you join conversations. Think about professional communities, online forums, international webinars, business conferences, networking events. People from different countries gather to exchange ideas, ask questions, share experiences, solve problems together. English often becomes the language that allows those conversations to happen. Now, imagine asking a question during an international webinar, receiving advice from experts you've admired for years, or joining an online community where thousands of professionals help each other grow. Those opportunities become much more accessible when you understand English. Now, here's another important benefit. English encourages lifelong learning. Because once you realize how much information becomes available, your curiosity grows. You stop learning only because you have to. You start learning because you want to. That shift changes everything. Curious people continue improving throughout their lives. And continuous learning creates continuous opportunities. Now, imagine yourself 5 years from today. You can comfortably read business books in English, watch international conferences, understand interviews with successful entrepreneurs, take online courses from world-class instructors, communicate with professionals from different countries. You've become part of a global learning community, not because you moved to another country, because you learned a language. Now here's the deeper lesson. English is much more than a communication tool. It's an access tool. It gives you access to ideas, to innovation, to opportunities, to teachers, to communities, to knowledge that might otherwise remain out of reach. And in today's world, the people with the greatest access to knowledge often have the greatest ability to create value. That's why learning English is one of the smartest investments you can make. Because every new word you learn doesn't just increase your vocabulary, it expands the world you can explore. And the larger your world becomes, the greater your opportunities become. Imagine this for a moment. You're sitting in your home. Your laptop is open. You're talking with someone from Canada, working on a project with someone from Germany, receiving feedback from a client in Australia, and discussing a new idea with a business partner in Singapore. It sounds extraordinary, but for millions of people, this is simply a normal workday. And one thing makes these conversations possible: English. Now here's something fascinating. Business has changed dramatically over the last 20 years. In the past, most companies hired people who lived nearby. Most customers came from the same city. Most meetings happened in the same building. Today, everything is different. A company can hire employees from 5 different continents. A freelancer can work with clients in 20 different countries. A small business can sell products worldwide. The internet removed many geographical barriers. English removed many communication barriers. Now think about that. Technology connected the world. English helped people communicate inside that connected world. Now imagine 2 talented graphic designers. The first designer can only communicate with clients in one language. The second designer can communicate confidently in English. Whose potential market is larger? The answer is obvious. The second designer isn't necessarily more talented, but they can build relationships with far more people. And relationships create opportunities. Now here's something important. Many people believe business is mostly about products, or money, or marketing. In reality, business is largely about trust. People do business with people they trust, and trust grows through communication. When you can clearly explain your ideas, listen carefully, ask thoughtful questions, and understand other people, you naturally build stronger relationships. English helps you do exactly that. Now let's imagine an international conference. Hundreds of professionals from different countries gather in one place. Some are entrepreneurs, some are engineers, some are investors, some are students. They all bring different experiences, different cultures, different ideas. But when they begin talking, English often becomes the shared language, because the goal isn't to sound perfect. The goal is to understand each other. Now, here's another fascinating truth. Many opportunities don't appear because you were searching for them. They appear because of conversations. A casual discussion becomes a job offer. A question becomes a business partnership. A simple introduction becomes a lifelong friendship. Those moments happen every day, and English often makes them possible. Now think about networking. Some people hear that word and imagine exchanging business cards. But networking is much more than that. It's simply building meaningful relationships with people, learning from them, helping them, sharing ideas, growing together. English dramatically increases the number of people you can build those relationships with. Now imagine you're interested in technology. Without English, your professional network may remain local. With English, you can connect with developers, designers, founders, and innovators from around the world. Your community becomes global. Now here's something powerful. Every new person you meet knows something you don't. Every conversation teaches you something. A different way of solving problems, a different culture, a different perspective, a different opportunity. The more people you can communicate with, the more your thinking expands. Now let's connect this to confidence. Many English learners believe their goal is speaking perfectly. But international business doesn't require perfection. It requires communication. Think about how many successful professionals speak English with different accents, different pronunciation, different grammar mistakes. Yet they communicate successfully every single day. Why? Because their goal isn't perfection. Their goal is clarity. They focus on understanding and being understood, and that's what truly matters. Now imagine waiting until your English becomes perfect before speaking. How many conversations would you miss? How many friendships? How many opportunities? How many career possibilities? Meanwhile, someone with imperfect English begins speaking today. They improve through experience. Their confidence grows. Their network grows. Their opportunities grow. Not because they were flawless, because they were willing to communicate. Now here's another lesson. Relationships create opportunities that qualifications alone cannot. A degree may open one door. A meaningful conversation may open 10 more. A recommendation, a partnership, a collaboration, a new client, a future employer. Many careers change because of one conversation, and English increases the number of conversations you can have. Now imagine yourself 5 years from now. You confidently introduce yourself to people from different countries. You participate in meetings without fear. You exchange ideas with professionals around the world. You build friendships across cultures. You collaborate on projects that once seemed impossible. Not because you became a completely different person, because you learned to communicate with a much larger world. And that's one of the greatest gifts English can give you. It doesn't only connect you to information, it connects you to people. And people often become the bridge to opportunities you could never have created alone. Because in global business, your network is often just as valuable as your knowledge. And English helps you build both. After everything we've explored, one important question remains. Is learning English really worth the effort? The answer isn't simply yes. It's that the value of English often goes far beyond what people imagine. Because when you start learning English, you think you're learning a language. Months later, you realize you're building confidence, opening opportunities, expanding your perspective, and connecting yourself to a much bigger world. Now think about investments. People invest money because they hope it will grow. They invest in businesses, in real estate, in stocks. They expect those investments to create a better future. But there is another type of investment, an investment in yourself. And unlike money, knowledge is something nobody can take away from you. Every new word you learn, every conversation you practice, every book you read in English becomes part of who you are. Now here's something fascinating. Many people spend years searching for opportunities, but opportunities often begin searching for people who have valuable skills. Imagine an employer looking for someone who can work with international clients. Imagine a company expanding into new markets. Imagine an entrepreneur searching for a business partner who can communicate globally. The opportunity already exists. The question is, are you ready when it arrives? Learning English helps you answer that question with confidence. Now imagine two people standing at the same crossroads. Both are intelligent, both work hard, both dream of building a better future. One can communicate confidently with people around the world. The other cannot. Over time, their paths may become very different. Not because one person deserved success more than the other, but because communication expanded one person's possibilities. Now let's think beyond business. English doesn't only help you earn more, it helps you experience more. You can travel with greater confidence, read books in their original language, watch interviews without subtitles, understand documentaries, take online courses from world-class universities, join international communities, make friends from countries you've never visited. Every one of those experiences changes the way you see the world, and every new experience helps you grow. Now here's another important realization. The world is becoming more connected every year. Remote work continues to grow. International teams become more common. Global businesses continue expanding. Technology removes geographical barriers almost every day. In that world, communication becomes one of the most valuable skills a person can have. And English remains one of the strongest tools for global communication. Now imagine yourself 5 years from now. You're sitting in a meeting with people from different countries. You understand the discussion. You share your ideas clearly. You ask thoughtful questions. You contribute confidently. Nobody is impressed because your English is perfect. They're impressed because you can communicate, because communication creates value. Now here's something powerful. Many learners underestimate what they're really building. Every listening practice session improves more than listening. It improves patience. Every conversation improves more than speaking. It improves confidence. Every mistake improves more than grammar. It improves resilience. Language learning quietly develops life skills that stay with you long after the lesson ends. Now think about your own journey. Every day you continue learning English, you're making a decision about your future. You're choosing growth over comfort, learning over excuses, possibility over limitation. That decision may not feel dramatic today, but years from now, it may become one of the smartest decisions you ever made. Now here's the final lesson I want to leave you with. Don't learn English only to pass an exam. Don't learn English only to add another skill to your resume. Learn English because it expands your world, because it allows you to connect with people you would never have met, because it gives you access to ideas you might never have discovered, because it helps you become the kind of person who feels comfortable in an increasingly connected world. And perhaps that's the greatest benefit of all. English doesn't simply change the way you communicate, it changes the number of opportunities you can recognize, the number of people you can understand, the number of doors you can open. Because every language opens a new window. But English opens one of the largest windows in today's world. So keep learning, keep practicing, keep making mistakes, keep growing. Because every lesson brings you one step closer to a future with fewer limits and more possibilities. And one day, you may look back and realize that learning English didn't just improve your career, it changed the direction of your life.